What's up, it's you? For today's video, with a full best Tera hat Pokemon team, I'll be looking at the best, funny, or interesting Tera hats that you can get on any Pokemon. I went through and picked quite a few, and I put them onto one team. I couldn't quite decide on all of them, so I just got a randomizer and got 6 of them. Now, with these Teras, obviously I can't do all 6 of them at once, so I'll be doing over 6 individual battles in today's video, and I hope you enjoy. Let me know in the comment section what you think is the best or funniest Tera on a Pokemon. It could be funny, it could be interesting, it could be cool. Let me know all about it in the comment section. Alright, first part Pokemon battle here we have against a random opponent, and we got a Garganacl lead. It's going to be using its typical Salt Cure here. So for Chandelure, when this Tera's obviously, it's got another Chandelure on top of its head. So I thought that'd be a good Pokemon for this team. And if you enjoy the videos, people, and want to support the channel, make sure you drop a like and a comment there. That allows my videos to appear in your subscriptions and stuff there, and you'll be able to find them easy. That's just how YouTube works these days. Now, we're having this Garganacl use Protect and Salt Cure, but it's not going to be enough to completely faint my Chandelure just yet. So I can go for an Energy Ball here again, and that's going to be able to faint our first Pokemon, which is good. Now, I did have some battles I did with this team earlier on, but unfortunately I lost a few of them. They didn't turn out, so I had to do like a bunch more, and I changed a couple of Pokemon up on my team too. Next Pokemon we got is going to be Kyogre. Kyogre is definitely a worry to my team, so I'm going to go for Energy Ball again, getting some quality damage on that big old whale, and it's going to be using Water Spout. Even though it did take a lot of damage there, Water Spout is still very, very powerful in the rain. So that's the end of Chandelure, but a quality effort there. Now, the next Pokemon I'm going to have here is going to be a little Pokemon. So I was tossing up, I was like, should I use Joltik or Tynamo for the tiny little Tera? And when you obviously Tera these Pokemon, they've got a very, very tiny little Tera hat on top of them. So it's pretty funny there. My Everlight, Tynamo, only on PIMPNITE channel, is going to be able to lift ahead a Water Spout and paralyze Kyogre. So this set is Charge Beam, Tera Blast, Thunder Wave, and Charge, and it's got Tera type as Ghost. The ability is Levitate, and it's got max health and max special attack, Modest Nature. So it didn't learn a lot of moves, but it was pretty fun to use because I could either try and paralyze the opponent and take Kyogres out, so it was awesome. So I got to feint a Kyogre with a Tynamo, which is incredible. So that's 2 Pokemon down, a solid start to the battle. Out comes the homie Palkia, and yeah, I'm probably not going to be able to live this hit, right? It's going to go for Earth Power though, so like, okay, I guess they've probably never ever seen a Tynamo in battle and probably weren't aware what its ability is, and it's a pretty good ability, right? So Levitate is not going to, actually allow the Palkia to take me out in this turn, so it's going to feint me on the next. But that doesn't matter too much. I can go for Charge Beam and get a Paralyze off and get some damage, which is going to be good. Now, that first Pokemon, Chandelure, was max Special Attack and max Speed, Modest Nature, and that had Inferno with Blunder Policy, Dark Pulse, Smog, Energy Ball, and Tera-type Fire, and the ability Infiltrator if you were curious. So that's the end of Tynamo, but a solid effort. This Mimikyu was wild. Watch this. So since it used its little signature move, I thought I'm going to make use of Copycat. So out goes the Palkia in this matchup, and in comes the Dragapult. I was like, oh, that's pretty good. So I'm going to Copycat the last move used on the field, which was Spatial Rend. Now, I don't have any special attack EVs at all, but it still did some really, really good damage. So I thought, well, I'm going to use that again. So I'm going to Copycat again, and I got 2 Spatial Rends off on the Mimikyu, which is awesome. Spatial Rend Mimikyu only on PIMPNITE channel, right? So we're getting that quality damage. Then it uses Phantom Force. I'm like, wait a second. I can use Copycat on the Phantom Force. They'll miss their Phantom Force, and because I'll be disappearing, right? So I'm going to disappear, and the Dragapult is going to miss breaking my disguise. Now, obviously, I picked Mimikyu here because it has a when its disguise is broken. It looks kind of, I don't know, it looks kind of funny when it has its Tera that's like a broken Tera hat. So I thought I'd include that. So that's the end of Dragapult, completely outplayed by Copycat. Next Pokemon is going to be Calyrex. I'm like, okay, this is definitely going to use its signature move. But wait, I can use Copycat again here. This is actually a max attack and max speed set with Leech Life, a Drain Punch, and Terra Fighting with Sword Dance. But in this battle, I use Copycat so much. So here comes the signature move here. That's going to break my disguise. Now, I knew this would do alright damage here, but, you know, coming off its special attack, no special attack EV, so I was like, yeah, it definitely won't faint. So, we got Mimikyu Astral Barrage on the Calyrex, and that actually does very good damage, almost taking it. It was so close. Unfortunately, it wasn't a KO there, but Mimikyu did so well there, taking out. What did I take out like Dragapult and Calyrex just nearly with just with the copycat. So that's the end of Mimikyu. I was like, all right, we've got one option here. We gotta bring in Wug Trio here. So when Wug Trio Teras, it actually doesn't. Obviously it's got multiple heads, so only one of the Teras goes on one of the heads. There are some other Pokemon too where the hat goes on different heads, but there was a lot of different Pokemon to choose from there. Unfortunately, I did not outspeed, and the Wug Trio is going to faint there. It was Tera Electric Galaxy Brain with Final Gambit, but more on that set a little bit later. Things are looking very grim, so we're going to go into my next Pokemon, which is going to be Sandy Shocks. This has got its ability, and I've got the booster energy, actually boosting up my speed. So this is a physical set. Supercell Slam, Terra Blast, Steel, and Earthquake, and Electric Terrain. I outspeed the Calyrex and send it to the Shadow Realm. So that's awesome. I got rid of that Pokemon, and we've got 2 more Pokemon left here. Now, this one is Terra Steel, because when you've got Terra Steel, has like the axe on its head, and any Tera hat actually rotates in a circle. If you look at the top of its head, how it's rotating around, it looks pretty cool. Like, you can be normal, looks like a big ring, or stellar, or axe. It actually spins the axe around, and I might actually show you that. Maybe I will. So I was thinking about this play for a bit. I'm like, well, this is probably going to go for a water move, right? Hydro Pump or something like that. If I go for Terra Steel, at least it won't be super effective, and then I won't get one-shotted, and then I can go for Supercell Slam, right? Because Terra Blast Steel is not going to do anything to it, so I might just Terra this and go for that more of at least a neutral hit rather than a super effective. So I decide to do that. And here we're going to show off our first Terra hat, which is Terra Steel, and the axe actually spins around, which looks very cool. You know, on its little head, right? So we got that spinning axe. We're going to go for Supercell Slam. It doesn't really do too much there. It's a physical set, but they went for Earth Power. I was like, oh damn! I don't know if they predicted that or not, but that was a good prediction if they did. So I've got Supercell Slam left. I have to go for that. I was hoping I didn't miss, and it was just enough to take out the Palkia, which was excellent. So this was max attack and max speed, Adamant Nature. And yeah, I've told you all the other moves. Last Pokemon is the homie Corviknight. They got that Unnerve. I've got Supercell Slam, and that's going to be my best attack to actually use against it. And I've still got one more Pokemon left, so I'm going to outspeed Corviknight. And Corviknight almost gets dropped. It was so close. They tried to set up a scummy Iron Defense, but that is not going to be enough, you know, to live my next attack. The best thing that could have happened there for them is if I missed Supercell Slam, and then they got that up, because that definitely would have been rough, because this team was primarily physical attackers. But how about that copycat Mimikyu? That was wild. It was absolutely crazy. I mean, the video should get a like just for that. All right, let's get on to battle number 2. Thank you to my random opponent. I'm not sure about a lot of these trainer names either, so if you could translate them, if anyone feels like doing that, that would be awesome. Next battle here, we got the Pickle Dragon, and we got Sandshrew. Now, this Sandshrew was actually meant to be a spinning on the spot Terra, but I was incorrect about that, because I thought it was Sandshrew, but it wasn't. So we're just going to forget the Sandshrew for the Terra hat. That's why this is like one of my earlier teams before I changed my mind. So I went into Tynamo here. I knew they were going to go for a little syrup bomb there. I really have not a lot to use this. And then they went for the Fickle Beam, and they got the all-out attack against my Tiny Terra, which is just cruel. So that's the end of Tynamo. I'm like, man, I think I'm cooked. So we're going to go into Eiscue. This is the last Pokemon to show on my team. And this is probably my favorite one, because when Eiscue has its Terra ride, the Terra hat actually sits on top of a singular hair on its head. So this hair must be made out of, like, I don't know, what's the strongest metal in the world? Tungsten titanium or something like that. There's got to be one of them. Let me know. Anyway, so that's going to be the end of the Pickle Dragon. Next Pokemon we got is a Moltres called Merry Christmas. What? And I've got Tera Rock on this because I thought Tera Rock would be funny because it's a big rock standing on top of like a singular string of hair. So we're going to go for our little Tera there. Let me tell you what this was. This was Max Attack and Max Speed Jolly Nature, Belly Drum, Snowscape, Icicle Sphere, and Tera Blast Rock with a loaded dice as the item. So Snowscape could allow me to get my Ice Face back if needed too. So Moltres is going to go for an obvious fire move there, being Heat Wave. We actually unfortunately got critted there, but he still lived it pretty well. And Tera Blast Rock is going to take out Moltres. And man, look at that tiny little hair. Look at that, man. Look at the load it's carrying there. Like that must be like hundreds of kilos, all that rock. Next Pokemon we got a totally legit one, of course, and it's Iron Hands. Now, Iron Hands is going to be a physical attacker, so I thought, well, I can actually go for a Belly Drum here. I mean, what are they going to do? Like, what's the worst they can do? Like a fighting attack or electric attack, right? Or maybe Fake Out. That's what I was thinking it could do there. But it's going to go for Drain Punch, which is fine, because I actually got a Belly Drum up here. So my Ice Face is, gone. I love the change in the animation there. And now I can go for an Icicle Sphere with Belly Drum. So this is hitting very, very hard. But, this Pokemon is like Iron Hands is very, very thick there. So that actually took 4 hits to take that out there. So that's the end of Iron Hands. That's halfway through an Eiscue sweep here. Now, the next Pokemon to come out is going to be Koraidon. So I'm in this speedier form. I think it's my niece or nice form. I think that's how you say it. And this has a lot more speed and attack. We're going to outspeed that Koraidon, and that's 2 hits to take out Koraidon. 2 little Icicle Spheres is going to take out Koraidon. So that's 4 Pokemon down. We are sweeping through this team with a singular, really muscly hair. Next Pokemon, oh look, another legit one, and it's going to be, of course, it's going to be a shiny as well. So I've got Icicle Sphere for this. It's going to get an attack rise. Good thing it didn't get a speed rise, and I can go for Icicle Sphere again. So it only took 2 Icicle Spheres to take it out. I thought it was going to be 1. So that's the end of that. So that's 5 Pokemon down. 1 more Pokemon. We've got a clean sweep from Eiscue here with the strongest hair in the world. Last Pokemon on their team is going to be, of course, Miraidon. So Miraidon is going to be, I was thinking it's either going to be Tera Electric or it's going to be Tera Fairy, one of those 2 ones. Normally, they're the ones that it normally actually turns out to be. So we got that little Timmy Tera here, and their last Pokemon is going to be Tera Electric. So they're obviously going to go for the Electro Drift here. So I'm going to go for Icicle Sphere. I'm going to be able to outspeed them, and Miraidon is not going to be liking those hits. Loaded dice is going to guarantee the minimum of 4 hits. And there we go, a Eiscue sweep with a single strand of hair on your PIMPNITE channel there, people. So, hope you enjoyed that one. Hit that like button if you did. Now, I actually have done an Eiscue sweep before, a long, long time ago. If you want to check that out, if anyone checks that original Eiscue sweep out, it leaves a comment on there. I'll hit you back with a comment and a little love heart here. And yeah, let's get on to the next battle. I have no idea who my opponent is, but this is a pretty funny battle. So we got a Monkey Dory. You don't get to see this too often. We got Tynamo as a lead here. I've got Thunder Wave. I thought, well, that'll be an alright, start there. At least I can paralyze this. And it's going to be a physical set. So, oh, okay, that's interesting. It's got Gunk Shot, and of course it's got Toxic Chain as well. So that's going to badly poison me. So Thunder Wave does not miss, which is good. And at least I've stopped this Pokemon from being speedy, and I can hopefully take it out with the next one. Maybe if I get really lucky with Tynamo, I could, but it sort of depends on the damage I'm going to be able to do with Charge Beam, because I am poisoned at the same time. So we got that Charge Beam. We're going to unload our full load on the Monkey Dory, and I didn't get a special attack rise. So okay, well that sucks. And then they get paralyzed. So that's the end of Tynamo. So like, Tynamo is going to be the hardest one to get a Tera hat off on. It's going to be a challenge to do that, but don't worry, I got it. Now, the next Pokemon we're going to swap in is going to be Chandelure. We got them 2 Chandelure. Whether I want to use 2 Chandelure at the moment is another thing. I've got Dark Pulse, and that's going to be probably more than enough to take it out, unless they got some crazy bulk about them. So spinning around, and it lived. I was like, damn, it actually lived there. Then they got a trick off. I'm like, oh, there goes my blunder policy. I was like, I wonder what they're going to give me right. And you wouldn't read about it. They gave me a Heartstone. I'm like, what is this? It's a troll. Like, this person's a troll, right? So I got that Heartstone Chandelure, boost up them rock types, and that's gonna be the end of Monkey Dory. I laughed pretty hard when I see that item. Now the next Pokemon to come out here is gonna be Lapras. So I've got Energy Ball for Lapras, but Lapras is pretty thick, so I knew it's probably gonna be able to live that. It may even have an Assault Vest too. So I'd say that Lapras, judging on the damage, didn't have Assault Vest. It's just overall bulk, managed to live that Energy Ball. So it's going to one-shot me with Hydro Pump, which wasn't too much of a surprise there, but, a pretty good effort there from my Chandelure. Into Wug Trio now. The time is ripe to go for a Tera Blast Electric. And that Galaxy Brain Wug Trio. Obviously, we all know how strong Wug Trio is. It's such a powerful Pokemon. But yeah, there are some Pokemon that have Terras like this where they'll Tera, but they won't all have the hat on there. Only one of them will. Or one's like, I think it's Dugtree gets it on another head, and then Regidrago gets it on its arm or stuff like that. So I tried to do Pokemon that represented all of them as well at the same time. So Lapras only had a bit of health left there, but I bet they'll surprise to see a Tera Electric or Wug Trio. So Lapras and Monkey Dory are down. Next Pokemon is Rayquaza. Now this is max health and max speed, triple dive, headbutt, and final gambit. I was like, let's roll the final gambit. I managed to go first there, and Rayquaza takes a big chunk of health. That's actually really, really good. So a solid performance there by Wug Trio, the absolute unit. Now we're going to take out this Rayquaza. It's going to go for a Dragon Pulse. It's a special one, or it could be a mixed one. I'm not sure. After that Monkey Dory of Hardstone, you don't know what's going to happen, right? So we're going to bring in Sandy Cheeks here. Sandy Chocks. And we're going to be able to go for a probably first here, unless they're going to allow extreme speed on this set. Of course, they'll be able to outspeed me, but I was confident I could easily live that. So I've got Tera Blast and Supercell Slam. I'm just going to go for Supercell Slam, and that's the end of Rayquaza. That's half the team down now. Actually, both of us have lost half their team. Now, the next one to come out here is something the Pokemon fan. It is Mew, so I was not a Mew. So, Supercell Slam is probably not going to do too much to Mew because, one, we're coming off Sandy Shock's attack, which isn't the greatest, and for some reason, Mew also had Hydro Pump too, so I was like, what? So, Hydro Pump is a 2-hit KO, and Supercell Slam is like 3-hit KO, unless I got a lucky crit. Also, there was, you could miss a Supercell Slam as well. Now, this is really interesting. So, Mew actually went for a Phantom Force here. I think they may have been expecting me to swap into another Pokemon there, like my Mimikyu or something like that. But I decided to do that anyway. I was like, well, I could go into Mimikyu or I could go to Eiscue. Like, both of them I'm going to be able to take hits. So I decided to go into my Eiscue. It's going to be able to eat up their Phantom Force with its Ice Face ability. Now, I can use Snowscape again to set it up, but it's probably just going to get broken again unless they've got a special move. So I thought, well, should I go for it? Should I risk the Belly Drum or should I just feint it with the Icicle Sphere? Now I've got my nice form. I can be a lot faster. So I decided just to get rid of the Mew in case some of its moves were unknown. This person was playing pretty random too. They had Hydro Pump and Phantom Force, so I had no idea what the other two moves are even going to be. So that's the end of Mew. Next Pokemon is going to be Ogapon Halfway, and this posed definitely a big threat. So there's no way I could really set up against this at all. With its signature move, I was going to get literally cooked. So I could set up the Snow, or I could go for Icicle Sphere for some damage. I decided to go for Icicle Sphere to get some damage on it. I did have loaded dice too, so I knew I could get 4 hits. And maybe I could get 5. That'd be really good. So doing pretty good damage here to Ogapon. Ogapon has actually got some reasonable bulk there for a sweepy Pokemon. And it's just going to go for his signature move. So obviously I'm not going to live that. But I was happy with the amount of damage that I could get off there. So I've got 2 more Pokemon left. Unfortunately, I don't have my Sandy Shocks with its booster energy again. That's the only other thing that I don't have here. So I've got Earthquake. And that's going to be my best shot. I don't know whether Earthquake's going to feint it because, it'll be close, but I wasn't sure whether I could outspeed it too was another thing. So I decided to go for Earthquake, and I went first, which is good, and that was probably just enough to take it out there. This has 81 base in its attack, so it's nothing to write home to to mum about. Next Pokemon that we got is going to be Tera, and it's got that little Tera shift, so obviously this is going to be their Tera Pokemon. Whether or not they Tera right away is another thing, so I thought, well, I need to break their Tera ability first. A lot of the time, you can use that ability and then Tera afterwards, but they're just going to go for the big health beast here. So I knew that I definitely wouldn't be able to take it out with this, right? And I only had a bit of health left, so I need to rely on my Mimikyu in the back there. So we got that little turtle, we got that big turtle, we got them colors, and here comes the Earthquake. So we did pretty good damage there, so actually pretty happy with that. And then it's going to unleash the Water Pulse. So Water Pulse is going to get a boost there. Not that it needed it. That's going to be easy enough to take out my my Sandy Shock. So I've got one more Pokeball left, which is Mimikyu. Now I've got the Disguise, which is good, and I've got Copycat, but I thought I don't know if I can Copycat that, so I think I'm going to be better off just going for Sword Dance and Drain Punch here. For Drain Punch for super effective. Mimikyu actually has some good special defensive bulk too. If that was the what was coming off there, so that's going to break my Disguise. I've got that broken Disguise, and now I can go for a Drain Punch. I was thinking I could risk going for another Sword Dance, but I need to get some damage, and I need to get some health sustain too, because I did lose a bit from that Disguise, right? So here comes the second Tera Starstorm here on Mimikyu, but Mimikyu, as I said, has reasonable, it doesn't have very good health, but it's got reasonable special defensive bulk, and I lived that pretty easy. So that is going to be the end of my opponent's last Pokemon, and that is also the end of the third battle, and our third Tera Hat Pokemon there, being the Wug Trio. I thought the light bulb on top of Wug Trio for Galaxy Brain. It's funny, if you notice, like Mimikyu becomes unbroken at the end of the battle. All right, let's get on to battle number 4. I have no idea who this opponent is. We got tons of random battles today. I think they might all be random battles, and we've got a Landorus lead. So it's not the greatest matchup in the world, but I do have an Ice type, so that could be useful. So I've got Icicle Sphere, I've got Belly Drum. I thought, well, I could go for Belly Drum here. That would still grant me +5 in attack, and they may even try and set up Stealth Rock, which they did, which is good. So that's going to allow me to keep my Ice Face and get Belly Drum up, which is going to be good. But I will be outsped the next turn, that's all. Now, the only thing about, the big weakness about Ice Face is only going to work for those physical moves. If a special attacker comes in, that's his big weakness there. So I can go for Icicle Sphere now and take out the Landorus, or set up the Snow again. I actually wanted to see what move they'll use, and also wanted to set up the Snow too, to give me a little bit of extra bulk. So we got that Ice Face disappearing, and we've got that Ice Face coming back there. Now, obviously, as I mentioned earlier on, with these Tera Hats, once I Terra'd one Pokemon, I wasn't allowed to do that again. I had to Terra a different Pokemon already. So that made things quite difficult, because in some battles, in some cases, I could win the battle, right? But I wasn't allowed to Terra that Pokemon, so I couldn't Terra it. So it was like a little kind of self-challenge thing. So funny enough, the Landorus tried to set up a substitute here, which is not a very good case for a multi-hitting move, because I've still got a potential 3 more at +5 and 4 times super effective. So that's going to be the end of Landorus there. It was never ever going to win that matchup, right? So the next Pokemon to come out is going to be Pawmot. Now, I can't allow this to revive any Pokemon. I know that it's going to have a fighting move, but then it went for Bite. I was like, oh, okay, I didn't expect that. So it's going to break my Ice Face, and I'm going to transform, but I got flinched. I was like, oh, that sucks. So I'm hoping here I can outspeed it and take it out, which I do. So we got that Icicle Sphere, and 2 Icicle Spheres are going to be enough to take it out, or at least I thought, because this had a berry, being a citrus berry, but judging on the amount of damage that it did before, it was going to be a 3-hit KO. There's almost 2 after that berry too, which is very nice. So that's the end of 2 Pokemon. We're getting Eiscue sweeping through here rather nicely. Now, the next Pokemon to come is going to be Baxcalibur. Baxcalibur is probably most definitely the typical Dragon Dance set. I really wanted to go for Terra Blast Rock here, but as you guys know, I've already done the Terra, so I've got to go for Icicle Sphere. So I'm still getting some good damage here. I'm like, that's 2 hits. That's actually enough. So 4 hits is going to be enough to take out the Baxcalibur. So that is half the team down already just from Eiscue. But I was thinking, am I going to get stopped here? Is it something going to outspeed me? Is there a priority move? Let's see. And the next Pokemon to come is going to be Koraidon. Now, that's going to get rid of the sun. Sorry, that snow is gone, and out comes the sun. But I was thinking I wouldn't mind getting rid of the sun. However, Koraidon's going to come in and outspeed me. So that was definitely max speed Koraidon. I'd say Jolly Nature too. And yeah, that's the end of Eiscue. But I did a pretty good job there taking out half their team. There's some very threatening Pokemon for sure. I mean, they could have had more Pokemon if I had that, Revival Blessing happen. So into Tynamo, I thought maybe I can get myself a Thunder Wave here or go for Tera Ghost if they go for Collision Course. And they swapped out. I got someone to swap out a Koraidon using a Tynamo only on PIMPNITE Shell. Like, you're not going to see this anywhere else. So they swapped out, and of course, I went for Tera Ghost on my Tynamo. I was like, oh, come on. Because what I was going to do, I was going to get them to go for their finding move, Collision Course, and then I was going to paralyze them. So here we go. Here's the tiny. Look at that. Look how tiny it is. So we got that tiny little Tera, that tiny little Ghost. I thought it looked really funny. And we're going to paralyze Grimmsnarl. So we already know what Grimmsnarl's going to do. It's going to be the same boring light screen reflex set, that everyone uses. But I thought I might be able to get a bit of damage on them. So they're going to set the light screen up first. I've got Charge Beam here, so I thought, well, my goal here is to try and outlast this Grimmsnarl for 8 turns, or as many turns as possible, right? To actually get around it. The only bad thing is here, it was setting up screens on me. But I was like, worst case scenario, 8 turns on both of them, or 7 turns to 8 turns. I need to make sure I can stall it out for like 5 or 6 turns, and then I'll bring the Pokemon in and feint it before I can set them up again. But it was difficult to do because this also had Thunder Wave itself, so I wasn't guaranteed to attack on certain turns either. And Charge Beam annoyingly missed a lot of times, which was very unfortunate. I actually had some battles with this team too that I was completely dominating the opponents, and then I have like 3 Charge Beam misses in a row, and then I had like 2 Thunder Wave misses in a row, then a faster Pokemon that come in and just wreck the rest of my team, which wasn't too hard to do anyway. But I had a lot of those battles like that, which there's another thing, Charge. I think the Charge Beam shouldn't miss. I think that's it kind of sucks, right? Anyway, guys, so we have this Grimmsnarl using its signature move here, dropping my special attack. There wasn't a lot I could do, really. I did my best there, and I managed to tank quite a few attacks against Grimmsnarl and stall quite a few turns of that that reflect and light screen out there. So I'm getting some special attack boosts. I'm tanking their moves, and finally Grimmsnarl took the Tynamo. I think it took 3 hits to take it out, which is pretty impressive for a Tynamo. So that's the end of the Ghost was actually bigger than Tynamo, the hat he was wearing. So at least I got this Tera out the way, right? That was the hardest one. So I thought, all right, I got to close this battle. I'm going to try to. We still got a very, very powerful Pokemon left being Koraidon. Let's see if I can actually beat that. So I've got Inferno and Blunder Policy. I needed this to actually miss because I knew that Grimmsnarl would just press Thunder Wave again because that was the easiest option for them to win. They weren't going to try anything difficult. They was going to go for the easiest route there. And Inferno's going to miss, which is fine. So that's going to at least give me a +2 in speed from Blunder Policy. So, pretty much put me back to where I was. So I've got that speed at least. I know that I can't outspeed Koraidon, which sucks. But Koraidon couldn't do too much to me. And they didn't know that I had Flash Fire or not either. I had Infiltrator, but, their Collision Course wouldn't do anything. And they probably thought, oh, we've got Flash Fire, so, Flare Blitz wouldn't be able to do anything. So it would need to have, like, another coverage attack to even land an attack against this Chandelure. So we had a lot of Paralyze here in this matchup between Grimmsnarl and Chandelure, and there were a few misses as well. Obviously, because Inferno, what the move Inferno does, if you don't know, it's 100 base power, and it's only got 50% accuracy, so it's very, very inaccurate. But if you do land an attack, it always burns the opponent 100% of the time. But, in this case, I'd already paralyzed the Grimmsnarl, so I couldn't really, hope for a burn, right? It would have been nice, but, I already paralyzed it earlier on. So, unfortunately, Grimmsnarl managed to get up the, unfortunately, before I took it out with the Smog, Disrespect Smog. I bet they love that one, but unfortunately, got a screen up. That really, really sucks. I was hoping that didn't happen. I was 1 turn too late there. But that's the end of Grimmsnarl. So we got a Meowscarlet here, another very, very threatening, easy-to-use Pokemon against this team. I was thinking, what am I going to do here? I've got very, very little options. I'm going to get outspanned. It's probably just going to use Knockoff. What can I swap into here? There wasn't much, right? So I got paralyzed. If I wasn't paralyzed, I'd be able to deal with that or have a chance of dealing with it. But, that's how it was. So that's the end of Chandelure. I've got 3 more Pokemon left here to try and deal with this. So I got my Mimikyu. This Mimikyu had leech life though. I didn't want to use Play Rough on this because I thought that, that'd be too easy. I wanted to do a little bit more of a unconventional set on it because, rather than just Sword Dance, Play Rough, right, that'd be too easy. So I'm going to get my Disguise broken and I've got Leech Life. But as you know, Mimikyu's attack stat isn't exactly the greatest in the world. So I went for Leech Life or Drain Punch, but it really didn't do too much damage there at all. So I got my health back, and Drain Punch was going to take about three hits or so with the Reflect up too. So that was a problem. If that Reflect wasn't up, then that would have done. It would have been an easy 2-hit KO. But this team I don't know why it turned out, but this team turned out all to be mostly physical attackers, and you can't really count Tynamo because. That most of the time that got a Thunder Wave off and didn't really do too much else. So I heavily relied on like a gimmicky Chandelure, which is all part of the challenge though. But that's the end of the Mimikyu there. Obviously, that Reflect Up really did hurt it. The next Pokemon to come in is going to be Tera. Now, this Tera was pretty fast, but I was kind of curious whether or not I could get a flinch here. So I went for the Headbutt. I had Triple Dive, but this didn't have any attack EVs at all. And I could have gone for Final Gambit there, but I kind of wanted to try and save that for Koraidon, which I unfortunately did not get the opportunity to do there. I was going to flinch with Headbutt and then finish it with another Headbutt or Triple Dive, but, try and stall out that Reflect there, because Reflect had a couple more turns left. So I thought, all right, we're going to go into this now. My item at least is going to get burned up, so it won't be a double base damage. I've got Electric Terrain and I've got Supercell Slams. I thought, I don't really want to take any more damage from Meowscarlet, but I have to actually use one move this turn, because at this point there was still 2 turns left. At that point there was still 2 turns left on a Reflect Ray. So I got hit by the knockoff there. That did a lot of damage still, obviously, and now I've got Supercell Slam. So I'm just going to go for that. This Mouse, I think this was like locked in. I felt like they were locked in too. I didn't use like Flower Trick or anything like that, so I've definitely chose. That's the end of Meowscarlet. I actually managed to get around that, which was really cool, and the Reflect is actually was actually gone too. So last turn here, in comes the Koraidon again, which was definitely the most threatening Pokemon on the team. I had the Earthquake, and they're going to go for a little Timmy Tera, of course. I mean, they totally needed it, right? So I was thinking, okay, they're probably just going to have like fighting or something like that, and they got fire, right? Oh, it doesn't really matter. Fighting, fire, whatever, same kind of thing. But I don't know what they would have done to Chandelure. So anyway, they're going to outspeed me and go for the Flare Blitz. Obviously, that's going to be the end of the Sandy Shock set. But still a very, very close battle considering what Pokemon I was using here. Like, that is a sweaty, ready team, and they just scraped the win there at the end. Maybe if I didn't... I feel like if I didn't Tera my Tynamo, I probably would have had a better chance there. But, that was all part of the challenge. Let's get on to battle number 5 here. This is a battle against the homie Naruto, or... I don't know how to say... Naruto? I'm not sure. Is that meant to mean Naruto in I don't know, another language? I'm not really sure, but it was kind of close to the Naruto. So we got that Zekrom lead versus Tynamo. I really can't do much here. I can only go Tera Blast, and they're going to go for a Brick Break. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. I'm going for that Tera Blast, and I'm not really getting very good damage at all. There really wasn't a lot I could do. Then they rolled like a high damage roll on their second Brick Break and took me out. I was like, okay, fair enough. At least I got a bit of damage there. Now, we're going to bring a Wugtree here. This Pokemon is bulky, it hits hard, and it is a threat. So I'm going to try and get a flinch with Headbutt and then go for Final Gambit, because this thing does have a lot of health. Unfortunately, my flinching Final Gambit combo did not work, and Wugtree is down. So I'm already down 2 Pokemon, and I've done very little damage to the first. So I'm in a very, very bad spot at the moment. And these Pokemon on this team are very, very powerful as well. So I've got Mimikyu. I thought, well, I kind of wish it went for a Dragon move, because then I could have gone for Copycat, but obviously against a Mimikyu, that wasn't going to happen. So we're going to boost up our attack here and try and get to damage. It's going to go for Bolt Strike. Bolt Strike, obviously, with its ability, Terravolt is going to bypass my Disguise. And yeah, that's half my team gone already. So things are looking very, very grim here. Into my Sandy Cheeks here, we got that speed boost, but will this be enough to take out, it out in one shot? I was like, yeah, I've got Earthquake, but this thing's pretty bulky, right? So I'm going for Earthquake, I'm getting the outspeed, and I think that was probably just enough to take it out. So I was like, that's good. So at least I got rid of that, but I've lost half my team now, which is bad. So I've got it's like a 3 versus 5 battle now. So we're gonna have Giratina come out. This is a problematic Pokemon too, because I have virtually nothing. Like, it's got Levitate as the ability, and both my other attacks are gonna do nothing at all. And I've got to swap out to get rid of my boost of energy. So things are just not going well at all. This is a disaster battle. Everything is just not going my way. So I'm thinking here, do I have to swap out? I can't just sack this off and go for a weak Supercell Slam, so I might need that later on. So I swapped it out, and I thought, well, I could go into Chandelure here. Let's see what happens. Let's see what they're actually going to do here. So into Chandelure, and they're going to go for Shadow Force. Like, that's actually good, because that's a 2-turn attack. So I thought, well, I could swap out here and then go into Eiscue, right? Because Eiscue's got the Ice Face. I can live that attack, and then maybe if they try and go for that again, I could possibly try and get into the game again with Belly Drum. Let's see. So they're going to break my my Ice Face here. It actually was pretty handy having a team with Ice Face and Disguise on there. I don't think that actually would be a pretty cool team, like Ice Face and Disguise. Is there any other abilities like that? I suppose you might be able to include Terrapagus in that. I don't know. Is there any other Pokemon like that? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I don't know if there is. You know, that like can take a hit and stuff like that. Let me know in the comments if you can think of anything. Anyway, so as I predicted, they're going to go for their signature move again, which is going to allow me to get Belly Drum up. And I went for Snowscape to get my Ice Face back. So that worked out pretty nicely. So Giratina's going to break my Ice Face, which is good. That's going to change my stats around. So obviously in its normal form, it's more tankier, but it's slower. But in its nice form, it has a lot more attack and a lot more speed, but less bulk. But this is going to be hitting very, very hard now, and that's going to make short work of Giratina. So this is my way back into this battle, right? I'll try and get my way back into this battle. This was crazy, right? Out comes Zacian. Now, this Pokemon completely and utterly counters my team outside of a shaky Chandelure Inferno, right? So, like, I have to go for Icicles here. But even a +6 in attack against a Zacian, it's questionable whether it's even going to have a chance of taking it out. So I was thinking for a bit, I'm like, well, I've got very little options. Like, I just have to go for it, right? So I'm going for Icicles here. It does a crit on the first one. I'm like, that was a crit, man, that did so little. The second one gets a crit. I'm like, wait, what? And then the third one, I'm like, oh, that's 3. Then the fourth one, which is 4. And I roll the 5th one, and that's enough to take it. That was so lucky, because I got 5 hits, right? But even 5 normal hits with no crit wouldn't have taken out. The first 2 crits absolutely mattered. That was insane. So, like, that battle would have been over there. But we get to continue the battle now. So that was really, really interesting. So, next Pokemon, another great counter is Solgaleo. I'm like, well, here we go. This is deja vu, right? But I'm going to need some big crits to take this out too. So, I'm going for Isosphere, and it is doing nothing. Absolutely nothing at all. So, I'm going for that. That's 3 hits. And I got 4 hits there, but I was still happy with that. There's still some good damage against Solgaleo. Solgaleo is going to go for a signature move here and take out my Eiscue, but I've got Chandelure in the back, and that might be able to deal with Solgaleo, and I also have my Sandy Cheeks too. So I was thinking, what do I bring in here? I was like, I think I'm going to bring in Chandelure, and I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for that. I'm going to go for that Terra Fire. Right, let's do it. I've got absolutely nothing to lose here. Right, I was already down at the start of this battle. I'm going to throw everything at them now. So we're going to go for that Terra Fire Inferno. I was like, I really, really hope this lands, because if it doesn't, I'm wasting my Terra. And you know, I'd say they're not going to go for Sunsteel Strike. They're just going to go for something, I don't know, coverage with like Earthquake or you know, something along those lines that's going to be super effective. So I'll get the Inferno, and it lands, which is great. So there's no way that Solgaleo is going to lift that. Chandelure has a massive special attack, so that's great. So I've got them down to 2 last Pokemon. I was really happy too, considering how low I was at the start there. I'd hardly taken anything out. So out comes Kyogre, of course. And that's sort of going to get any chances of me using any fire-type moves for the rest of the battle. And it's like, okay, Energy Ball, it's my best bet. Or do I go for Dark Pulse and try and get a flinch? I was like, it is probably a wise move to go for Energy Ball. So I was like, let's go for Energy Ball and see what happens. So they're going to go for their little Timmy Terra here. I was like, yeah, they're probably just going to go for Terra Water Spout. It's a broken set on Kyogre. It's very, very strong. And, you know, even on even on half health, this thing's got to hit you. So I managed to outspeed that, which is really good, and I did quality damage, but it just wasn't enough for me to be able to live like the second attack. I probably would have had to put it in the low red, right? Even then, right? So that's going to be the end of Chandelure, but really, really good there. I managed to get back into this game. So there's one more Pokemon left, and I've got my Sandy Shocks here with Supercell Slams. Like, Kyogre's actually in range now, and Kyogre's got big special defense, but its defense isn't quite as good. So I was like, let's go for that Supercell Slam. I landed it, and I took out the whale without a fail. So we got one more Pokemon left here. I was like, well, I was super happy, right? Because I don't know, the start of the battle was so bad. Just to get to the last Pokemon, right, it was crazy. So the last Pokemon is going to be Arceus the Whiscaranner, and it's Arceus Dragon. I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? So I went for Earthquake here, and that actually was a 3-hit KO. So here comes the Judgment on my iron, and I actually managed to live that. And I was like, wow, this is a 3-hit KO as well. So I go for Earthquake. The next hit is going to take out the Arceus. They're going to go for Judgment again here, and they rolled a maximum damage roll. So I was like, oh, I was so close there. So close, but still a crazy battle. That team was stacked. Naruto had a stacked team there. Definitely. Let's get on to the sixth and final battle here. This is a battle against Adam. This is another random battle on the Poké Portal. And we got a Armor Rogue lead here. So I've got my Tynamo as the first Pokemon. It's got that Thunder Wave. So I was like, well, Thunder Wave is going to be my best option here. They're interesting enough going to go for a Dark Pulse. That didn't do nearly as much as they probably hoped it would do. So I managed to live that. And that's, you know, that's arguably a 3-hit KO if that, of course, was maximum damage. So I got the Thunder Wave up. I was like, I could go for Charge or Charge Beam. I was like, let's just go for Charge. Let's get some damage on this thing. So good first damage there from Tynamo. Special attack rise too, which is great. And here comes the Dark Pulse again, and I lived that. So that's good. I can get another Charge Beam off here against that. So go for that Charge Beam and good damage. I'll put that down to half health and Paralyzer. I couldn't really hope for much more in this matchup from Tynamo. So not a bad start there. So I was like, okay, the only one that I haven't terrored yet is Mimikyu. That's the last one, right? So we're going to go to Wug Trio. I've got Triple Dive here, but I've got no attack EVs. But I thought that should do enough. They're judging on the damage, you know, that I did to it before with Tynamo. I don't think it's heavily invested in health. Plus, it's got weak armor as well, so that's beautiful, right? That's only going to help out Wug Trio. So going for that second one, it's got White Herb after that. Sorry, Weakness Policy. And yeah, you're not going to be able to launch any attacks, which is great. So that's the end of Armoro. So a quality start there. I only really had to sacrifice Tynamo, and I didn't have to sacrifice any health on this at all. The next Pokemon is going to be Ampharos. So Ampharos is a problem here. I thought I could Triple Dive, but it might static me, and it's probably not going to flinch with King's Rock anyway, so I decided to go for Final Get, but great damage on Ampharos. Ampharos has got some pretty good health stat around it too, so I was happy with that, and it's put it at a low amount of health that I can just come in and take it out with a faster Pokemon, so that was sort of the plan there. So the best Pokemon here is going to be Sandy Shocks. I can just come in and go for Earthquake. I thought I may as well, most of the time with this Sandy Shock set, I'd like to keep it in because it got a speed boost and stuff like that. So I've got that speed boost. I can easily go for Earthquake and, you know, and take it out there. I actually toyed with the idea of going for Electric Terrain, but I didn't want to allow Ampharos to get any damage against me. Unless that's, just in case that's some kind of, you know, a coverage move there or something bad happens. So I knew this Pokemon would come out. It's going to be Gastrodon. So I thought, all right, well, let's go for Earthquake. Let's get to damage here. So pretty good damage on Gastrodon. I was actually pretty happy with that. And I thought I might barely live a Muddy Water, but it critical hit in me. I don't know whether that mattered or not, but I felt like I could have lived that. It doesn't have bad special defense. It depends if the Gastrodon was more of an offensive set or a tanky one there. But judging on the damage I did with Earthquake, I feel like it probably was more of a sweeping set. Regardless, I can go into Chandelure now. I've got Energy Ball. I knew I had this in the back already to deal with Gastrodon in case you know, I wasn't able to take it out. And yeah, that's easily going to take out Gastrodon. So that's half the team down already, but it's also half of mine down too. Next Pokemon is going to be Hydreigon. I actually did a moveset guide on Hydreigon yesterday, if you want to check that one out. I've got nothing. I've only got Smolg. I was like, man, this is bad. So I got to do a swap here. I really have to swap out. I've got Dark Pulse or Inferno. I'm like, what do I do here? I've got to swap into something. So I've got Eiscue or I've got Mimikyu. I was like, I can't swap into Mimikyu because I need a Tera that, right? So I went into Eiscue just to see how much damage it would actually do to me with Dark Pulse, and that's a 3-hit KO. So I got some okay bulky. I've got Icicle Sphere. I'm not going to chance going for Belly Drum. However, they're going to swap out Hydreigon. So like, oh, I could have got Belly Drum off, but it doesn't matter. So they've got their own Mimikyu. So I'm glad I made my decision here to go for Icicle Sphere, because I can break their opposing Mimikyu's disguise, and then I can, do even more damage to them. And interesting choice, because Mimikyu is a physical attacker too, so they're going to have to bypass my my Ice Face to do any damage to me at all. So I managed to get 5 hits against him, which is really cool, getting rid of like, what, 3/4 of the health. And I can go for another one here. So let's do that. They're going to go for Shadow Sneak, I guess, in case I outsped them, which wouldn't have been a problem because this is quite slow in this form. However, in the nice form, I definitely would have outsped Mimikyu for sure. So that is going to be in a Mimikyu. So we got a Hydreigon left and one more Pokemon here. The only thing is Hydreigon will be able to feint me here, but I feel confident I should be able to outspeed it. Next Pokemon, of course, there's always has to be a Miraidon or a Koraidon on these teams, and this is always a problem Pokemon. It's like, well, without a belly, even if let's say I outspeed here, even without a belly drum, I won't be able to take that out. So I thought, I'll go for Snowskate first. If I outspeed, what's the worst case scenario? I get my face back, I get rid of the sun, right? That's going to be a good, a good thing. If I get outsped, well, I'm going to die anyway, right? So here comes Collision Course. That's going to break my Ice Face to no damage to me at all, which is good. And now I can go for my Icicle Sphere. And I swept Mimikyu in the back and Chandelure too. And I thought at least Mimikyu will be good for that, Collision Course, right? That's going to be good. And then if it tries to use Flare Blitz, well, it's not going to be as strong, right? Because there's no sun anymore. So they're going to go for a little Timmy Tera, and of course, it's going to be Tera fighting Miraidon, which is all good. Not for a normal Mimikyu set, that'll be good, but as you know, I don't know, play rough on there, so like, this is still going to be hard to get around this, right? So I'm going for Icicle Spheres. I'm not really doing the greatest amount of damage. I think the first one was a crit, so I got 5 hits on this, which I was pretty happy about. That took it almost down to half health. That's the best I could possibly do there without like a belly drum off and stuff like that. So that's the end of Eiscue. Obviously in this form, it's very susceptible. So goodbye, but a solid performance there. So we got Hydreigon and Koraidon left to be able to beat. Now Mimikyu had everything, like both its moves were great for this, because I could go for, Drain Punch against Hydreigon, and I could go possibly get a Sword Dance off here too, or I could copycat its move. So I decided to go for Sword Dance here. This is a jolly Mimikyu, and we got that speed boost. We got that speed, and we got the attack. Here comes Fire Fang. It's like, oh, they don't have Flare Blitz, they got Fire Fang. Obviously, they didn't want that recall damage. That's going to bust my disguise. Now it's like, let's go for Tera fighting. Obviously, they're not going to go for Collision Course against a Ghost type. And then I can go for Drain Punch and hopefully take them out and get some health back. And then I'll be in full health versus that Hydreigon. And Hydreigon won't be able to use Dark Pulse either. It will have to rely on something like Drake or Meteor or whatever like that. And it might even drop its special attack. So I'm going to go for Drain Punch. Koraidon just lives. Only just, but I don't think it was 1 HP, but it was a very, very small amount of health there. They're going to go for Fire Fang again. Please no burn. Burn didn't happen. I thought, you know what? It's time to disrespect. Let's go for a copycat Fire Fang. I was like, wait, I hope this doesn't miss. And it didn't miss. And Koraidon gets a taste of its own medicine there. So we've got one more Pokemon left, being the Hydreigon from earlier on, and simply here I can just go for a Drain Punch and take it out. The only thing that would happen here if I got outsped, but I do have my Chandelure in the back. So I've got Leech Life and Drain Punch. I'm gonna go for Drain Punch because we got that broken Tera as well, and Drain Punch is gonna annihilate Hydreigon there, and I'm gonna get all my health back. And that is the end of the 6th and final battle there. I hope you enjoyed the Tera Hat team today, or fun Tera Hats. If you did, make sure you drop a like on the video, leave me a comment. I love to read your comments on my breakfast. Can be anything. Peace out, people.